Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube as we take a look at SEC action, the third week of the SEC season. And let's see if we can continue to stay hot. Actually, not we, it's more Brian Edwards, as he is 5-1 on these videos. He was 3-0 in the opening week, went 2-1 this past Saturday as he won with Alabama. They cruised past Texas A&M. Also, he hit the over on Florida, South Carolina. The lone loser was Kentucky. They fell in overtime to Ole Miss. And now Brian with 4 selections coming up for this week as he'll look at 3 games. And Brian, welcome back. And we'll begin with the noon kickoff. South Carolina and Vanderbilt. The Gamecocks looking for their first win of the season. Vandy covered in the opener against Texas A&M, but they were blown out by LSU at home last week. And the Gamecocks right now a 13-point favorite.
Yeah, so Will Muschamp is 4-0 both straight up and against the spread against Vandy since he got to South Carolina. Vandy, since October of 2017, is an abysmal 1-9 against the spread in its last 10 as a home underdog. You know, South Carolina's 0-2 straight up, but they're 1-0-1 against the spread, and they've played pretty tough. Had a fluky turnover on special teams in the last minute and a half or so against Tennessee, or else they would have had the ball, the chance to go score. I think Colin Hill, the Colorado State transfer QB, has played well, 3-1 TDI ratio. He took a lot of big hits against the Gators last week, but kept getting up and thought he played well. Shi Smith's an elite receiver. He's got 22 receptions, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kevin Harris has emerged as a running back. He had 100 yards against the Gators with a rushing touchdown and a touchdown catch last week. And the Commodores, after playing really tough against A&M, got drilled last week. Their true freshman quarterback, Ken Seals, has a 2-4 TDI ratio, but I think Mason's going to stick with him. And obviously with the true freshman QB against SEC defense is, he's going to be inconsistent. Muschamp needs a get-right game to get the fan base happy. I think South Carolina wins by at least 17, Gamecocks -13.
All right, take a look at the second SEC matchup, also a noon kickoff. It's Florida going to Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher's Aggies so far 0-2 against the spread as they lost to Alabama on the road last week. And Florida has looked pretty good so far through 2 games. The offense is clicking behind Kyle Trask. The Gators right now around a touchdown favorite, 6.5 we'll call it, and the total of 57.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't go north of 7, I like Florida at -7 or fewer. I got it at 6.5. During Dan Mullen's tenure, Florida's been a road favorite 8 times. They're 8-0 straight up, 7-1 against the spread. The lone non-cover was an 8-point win over Kentucky as an 8.5-point chalk, where they only lost by the hook for our purposes. Defensive tackle Kyrie Campbell and senior safety Brad Stewart, both guys are going to be drafted in the draft. They've yet to play this week. Mullen's not really giving any reason. I don't know if it's COVID, suspension, maybe an injury, but, there's hope that those 2 guys will be back, and if so, that'll give a lift to a defense that's kind of struggled so far. It was a little better last week, but, I think Ole Miss has got a good offense dating back to week 1. The Aggies, they don't look very good, man. We saw what LSU did to Vandy. They barely beat Vandy, and then they get run out of Tuscaloosa. So I think the Gators is the way to go, assuming it stays -7 or fewer. And this is the only SEC game that probably won't have any weather for whatever that's worth.
All right, so you like the Gators and the over in that game between the Gators and Texas A&M. And the final game that we'll take a look at 6 o'clock, just have a steel cage match at the 50-yard line between Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin and be done with it. Don't even play the game. It's Alabama and Ole Miss, and the Crimson Tide now 2-0 so far. And the Rebels finally won last week as they beat Kentucky in overtime. First win for Lane Kiffin as head coach of Mississippi. You're not looking at the side, but instead the total at 70.5.
Yeah, so this total was, some books even opened it in the upper 70s on Sunday. Then as we had some forecasts for this storm coming to the Gulf Coast, it was down to 74, and then it like the forecast on like Monday night or Tuesday morning for this Saturday night in Oxford was looking really bad. Yesterday it was down in the mid 60s. I don't know how low it got. I remember I saw 66. I don't know if it drifted any lower than that, but now the forecast is kind of clearing up. And so now it's back up to 70, but obviously wish I'd have got it in the mid 60s, but as long over 70, I think is a good play. Alabama's going to be able to score as many as they want, in my opinion. Ole Miss has had combined scores of 83 and 86. Now, that game did go to overtime last week, but that was only 13 points. So there still was 70 points in regulation with Ole Miss and Kentucky. Corral's playing really well at quarterback for the Rebels, 7-1 TDI and T ratio, but the Rebels defense is atrocious. They're allowing an average of more than 600 yards of total offense. The last 5 scores between these teams, 43-37 for 80 combined, 48-43 for 91, 62-7 for 69, but that was a game that was 55-7 at halftime. And it was 62-7 early third, and Sabes called off the Dogs. It was one of the worst beats of my life. And then 59-31 last year for 90 combined, and I think I skipped over a 66-3. So Alabama scores at will against Ole Miss. And look, Lane Kiffin's offense is going to score on everybody this year. He's getting good QB plays, he's got good receivers, and he calls up good ball plays. Over 70 on Alabama Ole Miss.
So to recap Brian's picks for Saturday in the SEC, he's going with South Carolina laying 13 against Vanderbilt. Also, he's got a double dipper in the Gators Aggies game, taking Florida minus 6.5 and the over 57. And also he has the over of 70 between Alabama and Ole Miss. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Vegas Insider. For Brian Edwards, I'm Kevin Rogers. Thanks a lot for watching, and best of luck with your bets.